The girl I trusted with my biggest secret was the same person who'd been posting it all over the internet under my name for 3 weeks. And I found out because she accidentally liked one of the fake posts from her real account. Let me take you back. My name is Ileana, I'm 17, and I go to this mid-sized public school in Northern Virginia where everybody kind of knows everybody but nobody really knows anybody, if that makes sense. The person at the center of this whole thing is my friend Cassidy. Or, I guess, my former friend Cassidy. We'd been close since freshman year, not inseparable, but the kind of close where you sit together at every assembly, and she's the first person you text when something funny happens in class. Cassidy was the type of person who was always sort of on the edge of the popular crowd, like she could hang with anyone but never fully belonged to one group. I always thought that was cool about her. I'm more of a keep my circle small kind of person. I have my best friend Morgan, I have a couple people I eat lunch with, and that's honestly enough for me. I'm not antisocial or anything, I just don't need to be everywhere all the time. Before any of this happened, junior year was actually going okay for once. I'd gotten into this visual arts program through the school that I was really proud of, my grades were decent, and I'd started talking to this guy named Jalen who sat behind me in AP Lang. Nothing official, just that thing where you're clearly into each other, and everyone around you can see it but neither of you has said anything yet. Life was calm. Like genuinely calm, which should have been my first sign that something was about to go horribly wrong. Here's the thing about Cassidy that I didn't let myself think too hard about until all of this blew up. She had a pattern. It wasn't anything huge on its own. It was a bunch of small things that I kept explaining away because she was my friend and I wanted to give her the benefit of the doubt. Like sophomore year, I told her I was thinking about signing up for the school mural project. And the next day she'd already signed up and told the art teacher it was her idea. Or the time I showed her a playlist I'd been building for weeks, and she shared it on her story like she'd curated it herself. Little things, borrowing parts of my personality like they were library books she forgot to return. And then there was the thing with Jalen. I told Cassidy I liked him maybe 2 days before she suddenly started showing up to AP Lang early, sitting in the row next to him, laughing at everything he said. When I brought it up, she said she was just being friendly, and I believed her because what was I supposed to do? Accuse my friend of trying to steal a guy I wasn't even dating? I also told Cassidy something really personal last October. I told her that I'd been struggling with my parents' separation, and that my mom had moved into an apartment across town, and I was going back and forth between houses every week, and it was making me feel like I didn't have a real home anymore. I cried when I told her. She hugged me. She said she'd never tell anyone. I genuinely believed that was a moment that made our friendship deeper. I'm telling you this now because it matters later, and when I say it matters, I mean it in the worst possible way. So 3 weeks before I figured everything out, people started acting different around me. Not dramatically different, just off. Like someone would look at me in the hallway and do that thing where they glance at their friend and then look away too quickly. A girl from my bio class who I barely talked to came up to me and said, "I saw your post, that was really brave," and walked away before I could ask what she meant. I checked my Instagram, my TikTok, my Snapchat, nothing weird. I figured maybe she had me confused with someone else. Then Morgan texted me on a Thursday night and said, "Hey, don't freak out, but did you make a second Instagram?" My stomach dropped before I even opened the link. It was an account with my first name and last initial, a photo of me from my own profile as the picture, and a bio that said just being real. The account had been up for almost a week already and had maybe 40 followers, most of them people from our school. And the posts, God, the posts. Whoever made it was writing these long caption-style posts pretending to be me, talking about my personal life. One of them said, "I'm so tired of pretending my family is normal when my mom literally left, and my dad just acts like everything's fine." Another one talked about how I felt like nobody at school actually cared about me. There was one about Jalen that said, "I wish he'd notice me, but I'm too scared to say anything because I'm not good enough." Reading those words made me feel like someone had reached into my chest and turned my ribcage inside out, because those weren't random guesses. Those were things I had actually said, in private, to someone I trusted. I called Morgan and I couldn't even speak for the first 30 seconds. She just stayed on the line and let me breathe. Then she said, "We're reporting this tonight." And honestly, thank God for Morgan because I couldn't think straight. We reported the account that night. Instagram took it down within 48 hours, but the damage was already spreading. Someone had screenshotted every single post before it disappeared, and those screenshots were floating through group chats like wildfire. I know this because people kept sending them to me, sometimes out of concern, sometimes just to be messy. One kid in my grade literally reposted one of the screenshots on his story with the caption, "This is why you don't overshare online," as if I had actually written any of it. The worst part was that some people believed it was me. Like fully believed I had made a second account to vent about my life, and then deleted it when it got too much attention. I had people coming up to me saying things like, "It's okay to be vulnerable," and I wanted to scream because I hadn't been vulnerable. Someone had stolen my vulnerability and put it on display without my permission. At school, it got more complicated. Jalen saw the post about him. He didn't bring it up to me directly, but he stopped talking to me in AP Lang. Just completely went cold. No more turning around to make comments during class. No more walking with me to the parking lot after school. I finally worked up the nerve to text him and say, "That account wasn't me, I need you to know that." And he left me on read for 2 days before responding with, "It's cool, don't worry about it." Which is boy speak for "I am absolutely worrying about it and I now see you differently." Meanwhile, Cassidy was being suspiciously supportive, like almost too supportive. She was texting me every day saying things like, "I can't believe someone would do this to you, and people are so awful, and if I ever find out who did it, I swear." She even offered to help me figure out who was behind it. I'm not going to lie, for a minute, I actually suspected Morgan, which is something I'm deeply ashamed of. Morgan, who has been nothing but solid for me since 6th grade. I let the paranoia get to me and I pulled away from her for about a week, barely texting back, making excuses not to hang out. She noticed, obviously, and when she finally asked if something was wrong, I made up some story about being stressed with schoolwork. I could tell she didn't believe me, and the guilt of that lie sat in my stomach like a rock. Here's where it all collapsed. Cassidy posted a photo on her real Instagram story, just a selfie, nothing special. But in the notification bar at the top of her screen, if you looked closely, you could see she was logged into a second account. The username was partially visible and it matched the format of the fake account, just with a 2 added to the end. She had made a backup after the first one got taken down. Morgan was the one who caught it. She screenshot it, zoomed in, and sent it to me with no caption. She didn't need one. I sat in my car in the school parking lot staring at that screenshot for 10 minutes. And then I went back and looked at every text Cassidy had sent me over the past 3 weeks, all the fake sympathy, all the "I can't believe someone would do this to you" messages, and I felt something go cold inside me. She hadn't just done this to me, she had comforted me about it. She had watched me fall apart and handed me tissues with the same hands she used to type those posts. I confronted Cassidy the next day. I didn't do it publicly, I didn't blow up her phone, I just walked up to her before first period and said, "I know it was you." She denied it for about 15 seconds and then started crying and said she didn't know why she did it, that she was jealous of how put together I seemed, and that she thought if people saw my struggles, they'd stop comparing her to me. She said she never meant for it to get that big. Part of me, and this is the part I need your opinion on, part of me felt bad for her, because I could see that she was hurting. But then I remembered that she used the things I told her about my mom, about my family, about Jalen, and she weaponized them. She took the most fragile parts of me and turned them into content. I told her I didn't want to be friends anymore. She asked if I was going to tell everyone, and I said I didn't know yet. And honestly, I still don't know. Morgan thinks I should expose her so people know the truth. Part of me thinks that's fair. But another part of me wonders if doing that makes me just as bad, putting someone's worst moment on display for everyone to judge. I haven't talked to Jalen since. Cassidy and I obviously don't speak. The screenshots are still out there. And I'm still the girl people think had a public meltdown online. So I guess my question is, should I tell everyone it was Cassidy, or do I just let it go and move on? Because right now, I'm the one living with the consequences of something I didn't do, and she's walking around like nothing happened. What would you do?